Hi. I was vibing to that Wizkid's new feature with Justin Bieber. That is the Essence remix. If you haven't yet listened to it, you guys, you need to go do that ASAP because it's madness. JB killed it. He slayed it. He finished it. Okay. Anyways, welcome back to my channel, you guys. My name is Mayowa. If you're just joining us for the first time, thank you for stopping by. In today's video, I'm going to be walking you through how to make this asymmetrical peplum blouse. And once again, I'm going to be using my 1/3 scale mannequin here to show you how to make the asymmetrical peplum blouse. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, now is the time to do it. Kindly hit the subscribe button, tap the like icon, and hit the notifications bell right beside the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my new videos. To make this blouse, you're going to need like 3 yards of fabric if you are working with the length of Ankara, which is like 45 inches length, and basically 2 yards of fabric if you are working with a fabric with 60 inches length. And that's basically all of it. You're going to need a full complete pattern like this. So you get your pattern and get it to look full instead of half pattern. Instead of a half pattern, get it to look like a full pattern like this. Then please excuse my pattern lines because this is just a test practice. That is why my lines are looking all wonky and all of that. But make sure that whenever you make your own pattern or draft pattern, make sure your lines are always straight and all of that. So firstly, this pattern represents the upper bodice of the blouse. So the blouse, your blouse is going to be, the length of your blouse is going to be cut into two, that is at the waist. So this bodice represents from my shoulder to my actual waist. So here I'll be adding like half-inch allowance to join it to the peplum that will be adding onto it later. So if you look at the blouse, you will see that the keyhole is not equal, like it's not the same. It's not like round or anything. It has like a specific shape. Now to get that, all you have to do is to draw that shape onto your pattern here, and then we continue. But please note that when you're drawing when you're trying to make any openings on a blouse or anything, please take into consideration the bust of your blouse. Make sure that you are not opening the keyhole so much that when you're finally done sewing, the blouse will now, like your boobs will now like start popping out, which will not be like flattery and all of that. So what you need to do is to raise it up here. So if this was my actual pattern, I'm going to, from this is my bust level here, I'm not going to start drawing my keyhole from here. I'm going to raise it up a bit, maybe by like 2 inches or 1 inch, just so that my boobs are not going to be exposed and all of that. So you mark out like 2 inches. Let's assume this is 2 inches here. So you mark it out and then you start drawing. Then you come to your armhole also here and make sure that you go in by maybe 2 inches, just so that your bra strap will not be showing when you are done, because you know this keyhole is going to expose like a bit of your chest. So you go in by maybe 2 inches or 3 inches depending on you, just so that your bra strap will not show, and then you mark that. And then I'm now going to draw in the shape of my keyhole. Now this is the shape of my keyhole. If you don't want to do this type of keyhole, it's not compulsory, but if you want to do this type of keyhole, just follow the steps that I just laid out earlier. So just to make sure that your boobs are not popping out from here, like, because you've raised it up a bit, and then your bra strap is also not showing. So, and that is basically all of it. So all you have to do now is to add in your allowances: 1/4 inch at the neckline, 1/2 inch at the shoulders, 1/2 inch at the armhole here, 1 inch at the side, 1/2 inch here, 1 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and that is basically all of it. Then you add also allowance in the middle here too, because obviously we are going to be turning the rough edges of this keyhole inside, so you're going to like add like maybe 1/4 inch allowance round inside, and then you cut your fabric, and that's that for the upper bodice. Then we'll now move to the peplum. Now this is my cut out fabric. You can see the allowances that I've already added to it, and also the allowance of the keyhole. You can see that here. So please also make sure that you pick up a part, like you pick it a bit, just so that your keyhole doesn't gape. So you pick a bit of that here. You can see that I picked just a little. That's why I have pins around here. So you pick it just a little. You can pick like maybe 1 cm, like here, just so that when you are done, your keyhole doesn't gape. And that is it. So you can see how I picked this here. So you just pick it like you're picking a dart, like you're picking a small dart, and that is it. So you pick it on the pattern before cutting it on your fabric, and that's it. This is my back piece, 2 back pieces. This is it, and this is my facing for the keyhole. So I'm just going to basically place this right sides together, and then I'll sew by a 1/4 inch because I added a 1/4 inch allowance, and then I'll turn it inside and iron flat. Then maybe I can use like a hemming glue to like glue this whole part down inside, or you can sew once you are done sewing here. Once you and then you turn it inside, you can decide to sew a straight stitch round. But if you don't want like your blouse to be filled with so many stitches like at this side, all you have to do is just hem it down. Like you can use like a hemming stitch, or you use your hemming glue to make sure everything is like all nice and flat. Then for the neckline, you cut a facing also for the neckline, and then you cut a facing. Since this is a sleeveless blouse, I'm going to cut a facing for the neckline. I'm also going to cut a facing for the armhole. I'm not going to be using a lining for this because I don't want it full. If I cut it full, my lining is going to like cover the exposed parts here. But if you don't want to do that, just so that it doesn't stress you, just make sure, just cut facings for the neckline, cut facings for the armhole, and then all you have to do is just sew it and then turn it inside down and iron flat, and use a hemming glue to like make everything stay locked inside, and that's it. So all I have to do now is to show you how to draft the asymmetrical peplum part of the blouse. Now for the peplum, you're going to get your full complete circle pattern. If you don't know how to draft a circle pattern like this, please check out my video on how to draft a 3-tiered circle skirt pattern. It should be right on top of your screen, but if it's not there, please check it. Please check the link out in the description box down below. So this is my circle pattern, and then make sure you cut 2 of this because we are going to be doing we are going to be altering. So this one is going to be the front, and this one is going to serve as the back piece. So this is the back piece, and this is the front piece. They are of the same measurements. So now let's work with this first. So for the peplum, one side is going to be longer than the other. So this side is going to be shorter, and this side is going to be longer. So I'm going to reduce the length of the actual length of my circle pattern. So I'm going to reduce the length. You can reduce it to whatever length you want, just to make sure that this side is shorter than this side. So I'm just going to do that now. now you're going to keep increasing the length. I have 2.5 inches here, so I'm just going to come right here and increase the length. So let's just say I increase it to like 2 3/4, then I come right here again and increase it to like 3 inches. Then I'm going to draw a slant line from here. Instead of like curving it, I'm going to draw a slant line like this. Just watch me. Like this, you can see that. So from this point here, I'm going to like come up like really well. So let's do basically maybe 2 inches here. So I'll draw a slant line like this. So I have 2.5 inches here. Then I'm going to like come on up again, maybe like 2 1/4, and then I'll come to the middle here and mark out maybe 2 inches or probably 1 3/4 inch. So then you draw a line like this. Now for this part, you increase the length. You know, I mentioned that this part is going to be shorter than this part. So I have 2.5 inches here. So let me just do like let's say 4 inches here. Then I'll come right here, just the same way I did all of this here. I'm just going to do the same thing here, but this time the lengths are going to be longer than the length that I have here. So I'm going to mark out 6.5 inches here, because this part is going to be the longest part. Then I'll draw a slant line like this. And then I'll go up. So here I have 3 3/4, so I'm just going to come here and do maybe like 3 inches, and then I'll come here and do maybe like 2.5 inches, and then I'll come here and do, just so that it gets to this point, and this is 1 3/4. So I'm just going to connect this like this, and that's it. Please always make sure your own lines are straight. Don't make it like double lines like this. Always make sure you can use your French curve like to trace all the points out. So now all you have to do is this is the side, you add 1 inch allowance here. You add 1 inch allowance here also, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and then 1 inch also for the side. Then you cut it out, and that's all for the front. Then you are going to do exactly the same thing we've done here. You do the same also for the back piece. So let me just do that now, and then I'll show you the whole thing. And that's it. This is the front and this is the back. They are both the same, but the only difference is that at this angle here is longer than this angle here, and this angle here for the back is also longer than this angle here. But at the sides they are the same, and at the sides they are the same also here. You can see that. So I'm just going to cut this. This is what it is. So I'm just going to cut this out of my fabric. Then when I'm cutting this for the back, I would have to slash the middle part open right here, and then once I slash it open, then I'll add like my zip allowance here, and then I also add my zip allowance also for this side. So you know, once I slash it open, I'm going to have 2 pieces. So I'll add zip allowance here and also a zip allowance also here. So I'm just going to cut this out right now. So now this is my cut out fabric. This is the front piece, this is the back piece, and then I also cut interfacing to this, just so that the peplum is going to really stand. So but then if you don't want your own peplum to stand, you don't have to iron on any form of interfacing. You can just sew it like that. But you want it to like give it that definition, and to make it stand, you can use an interfacing on it. So the type of interfacing I used for this is you can ask for a collar stay or a peplum stay. Peplum stay, this is actually a peplum stay, but if you don't get a peplum stay, you can also use collar stay for this. Then now the next thing is to sew this and put all of this together. So this is what a peplum stay looks like. It comes in varying weights. Like you have like some that are lighter and some that are stronger, so it depends on you and the one you want to go for. So now to sew this, I'm going to start first with my front piece. That is the upper bodice of my front piece. So I'm going to lay this on top of this, and then I'll sew by 1/4 inch round, and then I'll turn it inside out and iron flat. So but for this I didn't cut a facing for this because they test fabric. But when you are sewing yours, once you place this, you sew this, you place your neckline facing also on this part, then you sew by 1/4 inch, you place your armhole facing on this side and on this side, and then you sew this armhole facing by 1/2 inch. Then when you are done, you turn the neckline facing inside out, you turn the armhole facing inside, turn this part inside, then you also turn this part inside. Then you go ahead to come to the wrong side here and iron everything flat. Then you basically come to the hem here and also sewing your darts here. So you sew in your darts here, and that is basically all there is to it. So I'm just going to do all of that now. That's basically it. Just look at this. Is the peplum sewn at the sides already, sewn at the sides. So these are my darts. Excuse the fact that this is rough here because the facing I cut earlier for this part was a bit too small for this. You know, the blouse is already small, so the facing was already too small. I should have cut a wider facing just so that the whole thing is going to turn inside. But this is just a test. It's just a mock blouse, so there's really no problem now. And that's basically all of it. So I'm just going to wear this on top of my mannequin just so that you can see the fit and what it looks like. And this is it, guys. This is what it looks finally on the mannequin. So I'm just going to turn this slowly just so that you can see the front and the back. And that's basically all there is to it, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and also turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And until next time, bye.
Hey.